Hey guys, Brian here again with Austin to talk about Nintendo at E3 2014, which will begin on Tuesday, believe it or not.
Oh god, I'm not ready, Brian. I'm not ready.
Although it actually begins on Monday, but Nintendo stuff is Tuesday.
Yeah. We'll see. At like 9 in the morning, or no, it's like 11 here. That's reasonable.
I think it should be 12 here.
Well, 12 for you, even better.
Yep.
You can sleep in like.
Oh, I'm not going to be sleeping.
Fair enough. Well, there's a lot to talk about, so.
Yeah, are you hyped?
Yeah, kinda. I don't know, because the thing with E3 is you don't know how hyped you should have been until afterwards, because sometimes it is really crappy.
That's true.
So, I mean, it's nice to know that Zelda will probably be there, but it's really hard to know exactly how good everything's going to turn out until afterwards. So there's a couple of things that are worth looking forward to, but I wouldn't say I'm hyped yet. I think the morning of the press conference, I will become very giddy, and so I'll give myself a couple of days to build up to that, I think.
All right. Well, you did speak about Zelda, so I guess we might as well start off with that.
I'm the segue king. I got it down. So yeah, let's start.
So, do you think it will actually be there?
Oh yeah, I don't think there's any doubt. I mean, they said they were going to show it last year, and then didn't Aonuma say you wanted to show it at like Comic-Con this year too, or some other convention?
Something like that. And I think they kind of said that they did want to show it last year, and Aonuma first talked about it in like the January 2013 Nintendo Direct.
Yeah,
So that was a long time ago.
So I mean, the only reason why they wouldn't is to put a focus on like Hyrule Warriors, but I don't think they're really that worried about. Like, that's the only counter that I've heard to the idea that they'll show it, is that, well, maybe they don't want to take the hype away from Hyrule Warriors. So,
right.
But I don't know if that's really valid. So I'm guessing it'll be there.
I'm just nervous because we haven't, quote unquote, officially heard about it being there for a few months now.
True. If it isn't there, I think it will be very bad for their image, because a lot of people are talking about, well, oh, just wait for E3. Zelda's going to be there. It'll be fine. Everything's going to be great. So if it's not there, because then the question is, like, as far as Zelda's presence, Majora's Mask 3D or whatever is another big part of that, right?
Right. Some people are speculating that maybe they'll announce that.
Would they really show Hyrule Warriors, a Majora's Mask remake, and a third Zelda game all at one E3?
That seems like too much, right?
Yeah, it does. I mean, I wonder. Maybe they'll just get into the habit of doing like a Zelda remake every other year, and then... Or no, I guess it would be almost every year at this point, because Wind Waker was last year, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Wind Waker was late last year, so... maybe they'll just do a remake of Zelda every year and have that be just kind of like a yearly thing, or maybe bi-yearly. And then, man, but yeah, 3 Zelda games seems like a lot. Now I'm getting skeptical of the idea that it will be there. But I'd still put my hands in that basket. I would say it'll be there.
I feel like it has to be there at this point.
They've built it up enough where it would be not catastrophic if they had something else, but it would be a small blow, I think, to their current relatively positive image if it wasn't. So,
well, let's just assume that it is there.
Sure.
Do you have any particular art style in mind that you'd want the new Zelda game to be?
My philosophy with Zelda has always been, they're going to do a good job with the art style, so whatever it is, I'm totally fine with. Like, Twilight Princess, great art style. Wind Waker was great. Skyward Sword, like, everything is fine with me, and I completely trust them. Do you have a preference?
I'm kind of in the same boat, but if I was asked and I had to make a choice, I would want a realistic style.
Kind of like the tech demo they showed?
Right.
It was a beautiful looking tech demo.
It looked really nice.
It was a bit like, oh, of course this is what Zelda would look like, but man, that doesn't really matter because it looked amazing.
Mm-hmm.
God, it was just so smooth and like wonderful, and it wasn't quite realistic, right? But it had a serious tone to it, which is really, really nice. So,
yeah,
but really, any game that they put out that's in the Zelda canon will be good. So, I'm not worried about it.
All right. Do you think it will be a third-person kind of behind-the-back, traditional 3D Zelda, or do you think maybe they could take a risk and make it top-down like A Link Between Worlds?
If this is the Wii U Zelda, it will be third-person. I'm fully confident in that.
Yeah.
I would like... what was the GameCube top-down Zelda? Four Swords Adventures?
Mm-hmm.
I would love, like, in a hand-drawn kind of, or like sprite-based style. But do you think they would do that? I don't know.
My gut and my hope would be not, because
they showed off that beautiful tech demo, so
right.
You would think not.
And I just kind of feel like at this point, for me at least, I'd rather see a top-down Zelda on the handheld.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't bother me either way, because I actually generally prefer just playing games on a TV if possible, right? Like Minish Cap is coming out. I think it came out today, right, on Wii U. And playing that on a TV would just be really nice. I like that. But either way, it doesn't really make a huge difference to me. The difference is the hype that is generated by a 3D Zelda is a lot greater usually than that generated by a 2D Zelda. So,
and I feel like Nintendo fans really just want that kind of epic adventure.
Yeah, well, and you don't get that same kind of... I mean, 2D Zeldas and 3D Zeldas, despite sharing the same name, are pretty drastically different, you know, all things considered. So, just in terms of how you feel while you play them. So, yeah, I think that's totally fair to say we could use a big adventure, because A Link Between Worlds was fun, but didn't have that great sense of adventure for me.
Right. So,
yeah, I could go for another, like a Twilight Princess or a Wind Waker, something with a lot of spaces to explore, just a really nice world, so... Yeah, I'd vote for behind the back, kind of traditional 3D Zelda.
Yep, same with me. And one more question. You know, Zelda Williams said that she would be doing something special at E3. What do you think that could be about? Do you think it is Zelda related? I mean, it has to be, right?
Well, I mean, she did tweet like, "Oh, it's not what you think,"
yeah,
but she could just totally be lying. Like, I don't know. My initial thought was like maybe she'll, because she did a hosting gig for the Zelda Symphony last year or 2 years ago or something. I think it was last year. So I was like, maybe she'll host the Smash Brothers tournament, but we know that what's his face is doing that, Jeff Keighley.
Yep.
So she's not doing that, but I would guess it's more of that kind of role rather than something tied to a big game announcement. But maybe it's totally impossible to speculate on that, given the information we have. I think I have no idea.
All right. So I think we've talked about Zelda quite a bit, so why don't we move on to another topic, and we could go on to NFP, or Nintendo's Near Field Communication Plans for Wii U.
Yeah, they didn't they take that acronym instead of Near Field Communication? They said it's a Nintendo Figurine Collection? I think they took
Figurine Platform?
Platform, yeah, but I think they took NFC and decided to change it into like Nintendo Figurine something.
Yeah.
So it has two names now.
It's kind of confusing, but...
Yeah, I've not kept up on this too much, so why don't you just say a little bit about what has been revealed with regards to it? Because I haven't had that much interest in it so far, but you've had to cover it for news, so what's the deal with this? Fill me in.
I mean, they haven't said too much about it, honestly. We know that there are plans for Wii U and 3DS, so the 3DS is going to get its own kind of accessory thing, and whatever Nintendo's planning, it's going to work across multiple games.
Okay.
And it's... I guess you could say that it's also tied into figurines, obviously, and toys, I guess, maybe, so...
Yeah.
You know, they showed that Mario figurine. I don't know if you've seen that picture.
Yeah, that's the only one they've showed, though, and it doesn't make it clear what that'd be used for. But the thing that worries me, well, not worries me necessarily, but what's his face? I keep saying I don't know names. The guy said it's going to be... in some sense used for Smash Brothers on Wii U, right?
Oh, yeah, I was going to bring that up. We kind of don't know if that's actually true, though.
Well, he said, I'm guessing in some sense it's going to be true. I don't know, you know, if it means figurines for, you know, characters or whatever, or how, or maybe stats, because, you know, you can slightly customize your characters, apparently.
Right.
But I would be very hesitant to jump on a train of a game where you can unlock characters by buying figurines. I just don't think that would fit very well with what I would want out of Smash Brothers, unless they made it so you could unlock all the characters for cheaper than it would just be to buy the whole game, right? Mm-hmm. But if it's going to be one of those things where it's like it comes with 30 characters and then there are 20 additional available characters you can go out and buy, I don't know. I don't like that kind of thing. I don't know how you feel about it, but it doesn't. Yeah. I don't dig that.
I'm just not really sure about what I think about it overall. You know, I wasn't entirely excited when Nintendo announced these plans.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Like, I've never been big on the Skylanders bandwagon.
Well, isn't that just because Skylanders is kind of a bland game? Like, not a bad game, but just kind of a okay. You know what I mean? If Nintendo makes a great game with it, you could see it working. But the two things to this is, one, in theory, it would be more expensive than if they didn't, right? So we'd be spending more money to get effectively or you know, assumedly the same game, which is a bummer. And then 2, you're going to have to go out to the store and buy all this plastic instead of just like clicking a button and buying it on the shop, right? If it's going to be like downloadable characters or whatever. Now, if they said Smash Brothers has downloadable characters, each character is $5, and but instead of buying it on the shop, you get it in the store, and it's like a $5 figurine, and you still get the character. The only difference between that and downloadable is you get a nice figurine, which is fine. Like $5 for a character and getting a figure with it is fine, but then you're gonna run into the problem of like, what if it's sold out, and what if you don't want to go all the way to the store and you just want to download it? So I don't know how they would work that sort of thing without kind of upsetting a lot of people like me, you know?
Yeah, I don't know. I think we just need more details, because right now everything is really vague.
Yep, and I'm sure we will get them. I'm sure that'll be part of what they tell us at the digital event, and maybe we'll be angry, but maybe they'll be like, hey, this is cool. Like, a lot of people are really satisfied with how they did the pay-to-play stuff in Rusty's Real Deal Baseball, right?
Yeah, that was
a lot
really
of people
good.
think it's really, really well done. So, you know, if you would have told me they were doing that a year ago, I would have been like, oh, stupid Nintendo, and there's free-to-play crap. But they did it really well, so maybe we'll be proven wrong yet again by them.
You know, it will be interesting to see, you know, how much they do show of this. Obviously, they're going to have to announce some kind of game. I don't know what.
Well, isn't it, you have it on the list here. Pokken Fighters, right? Isn't that a theory?
Yeah,
isn't that a theory that it's going to be like a fighting game with Pokemon, and you buy the figures with figurines, right? But this doesn't fit with the philosophy of having the characters be usable across multiple games unless it ties in with that Pokemon Rumble game, right? So yeah, it's one of those things that I guess we just don't know enough to say for sure whether it's good or whether it's bad, right?
Yeah.
I think that's totally fair. So I'm skeptical right now, though. I wouldn't put I'm not anticipating this, but I'm not completely against it yet, right?
Yep. Come Tuesday, I think we'll both have a better general idea of how we feel about it.
Yep, absolutely, and hopefully that'll be the case for all of the stuff that that Nintendo, you know, all the stuff that Nintendo's kind of announced but not really announced with regards to like Zelda and the figurines and the health and what is it, the quality of life stuff, if that's going to be at E3.
I'm hoping not.
It depends what it is. I mean, they've done effectively that at E3s in the past. Cough, cough, 2009, right? So maybe it will be, but I doubt it. I think they're pretty focused on games because that's kind of the only audience they have left at this very moment. So
yeah, and I don't think people tuning in for E3 are really going to want to see that anyway.
Well, and the people who that would be focused on aren't exactly going to be waking up at 9 in the morning to watch an online stream of, you know, Nintendo at a game convention. So my hope is that it's going to be mostly game focused, and the other big hope for me is that it works when last year's stream didn't really work. It kind of broke pretty quick. So, but the problem is, I think they're hosting it on their website again. So
I think it's also on Twitch and probably their YouTube channel too.
The digital events on Twitch.
Possibly.
Because that would be fine. Twitch usually does pretty good at hosting those kinds of big events. So.
I feel like it's definitely on YouTube, though.
YouTube is shakier, I think, because wasn't there a YouTube stream last year, too, that didn't really work? Maybe I'm wrong. I think it was the European stream was on YouTube. But I might be wrong about that, I suppose. So we'll see. Fingers crossed that it all works, and I'm sure that they're going to try hard because they know that last year it left a bad taste in people's mouths.
Yep.
So, all right, fair enough.
All right, so